defending. I think it's like.
Are we live? Of course I'm live. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. I appreciate the Twitch gang. Large up everyone who's locked in. Now it's morning times over here in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course good night, depending on wherever else you guys are placed in this world. One love to the Twitch gang. Appreciate all the Arsenal fans, football fans in general. Big up my guy, even Forever Spurs. I know he's a spud, but I appreciate your support, man. Obviously, we're fans of the game first, football team second. Now, obviously, you know, as I said, I hope you all had a good weekend away from football, Arsenal fans and anyone else. Hope you all had a prosperous week last week, and I hope this week is filled with, you know, abundance of riches. I hope first and foremost your health is there, people, you and your loved ones. You know, without health, we're dead. So, yeah, I hope you're all healthy. I hope you're well and safe. Hope you'll have a week to remember, moving that much closer to your goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, and aspirations. And where Arsenal's concerned, let's therefore hope that means towards a blood clot midfielder or something, people. I can't lie. Striker and midfield. I mean, every game I sit here and I say these things. I think when we played Liverpool, you saw why we needed probably another number 6 for depth purposes, because if El Nene, who can do it but isn't quite that, if he's not about, if Partey's not about, or even if one of them's about, Lokonga's still learning, there's an issue. I think that game there against Liverpool, you saw why you needed a number 8, you know, someone who could get onto the ball. I think yesterday for Arsenal fans, and listen, I'm gonna have to do my therapy in a sec in relation to Arsenal. Pardon me. You know, it showed why we need, for me, a midfielder or two, like some number 8s that can get on the ball and break down low blocks and allow Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka to stay further forward. Is it any coincidence when we did look like scoring, Smith Rowe is running at man, Saka towards the end of the first half? I know he lost his powers in the second half, but he's doing his thing. Martinelli was a constant threat throughout, but it's predictable. We're banging the ball into the channels. Martinelli's cutting in off that left. It's baiting it, really and truly. And again, one thing I'll give Xhaka, I'm not going to sit here and say Xhaka should have played, because you know how people go on with them things there. You know, was Xhaka, Partey, Tomiyasu make a difference? Of course, but they've been respectfully, they've been part of these performances, and the same thing has happened. So it's deeper than just them. I do think Xhaka would have allowed Tierney to get a 2v1 with Martinelli more. Clearly, I think in hindsight we lost a lot with Ben White moving over to right back. Again, our centre backs are having to overcompensate because we ain't got the midfielders. Lacazette is dropping deep, and Lacazette should be scoring. Half the time he's not in the box, and when he's in the box, he's meaty in front of goal. You know, it's really problematic, and it's something I've been saying for the last 18 months in particular, and for God knows when. You know, we haven't replaced midfield since Vieira bust out, really and truly. And you know, I know there was a rebuild and there was a good summer last year, but we buckled the chance to really revamp the midfield. Again, defense wins you titles. We're improving in defense. Strikers win you games, and our strikers don't score. So we're not winning no games in 2022. The midfield battle 9 times out of 10. It's appalling, really. And we knew this was coming. We knew AFCON was coming. Every problem we've got is kind of self-inflicted beyond the obvious. And I'm kind of vexed that 2 points to drop, because I saw a lack of reaction in general, really, and we're just gonna have to get on with it. But I'm gonna offer my opinions in a sec, people. But where's my manners? As I said, big up everyone. Bermuda's always in the house. VDC, I always see you locked in, and I appreciate that. You know, Jonathan Antonio's always saying this gas for me. Man said, all right for the national anthem. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you locked in. If I ain't said your name, it is what it is, man. I appreciate you. Look, get any talking points, them things they're in. Don't feel any sort of way, people. Again, first segment of this Twitch stream, I can't lie, it's going to be an Arsenal thing before we progress to any transfers, Premier League review, AFCON, all of these sort of things. That being said, you know, get things in. A man said no more Forever Spurs after yesterday. That was painful to watch, man. All right, call him THFC Trey. To be fair, bro, you man bottled it, really. I think Kane got shagged with that goal. You know, obviously there is a bit of a push, a bit of... But I mean, come on now, you know, and I think a lack of reaction from Thiago Silva, maybe his experience, maybe it's like, oh shit, I've caught life. Apart from that, you know, I think Tanganga's a good player, but them games there, he's out of his depth, really and truly. I just think you respectfully, a bit like us, you just ain't got the quality, and Chelsea just, to be honest, Chelsea ran the game from start to finish. If I'm honest with you, there was the occasional counter attack. Like I think Bergwijn sat Jorginho on his ass with a good dribble, but apart from that, nothing was really grinding from a Spurs perspective. Really, you know, I think man need to support Conte. Like Conte when I see him bringing on Doherty and some of these signings, it's because he has to. You know, you man like us United and you man, but them man they need midfielders. I know United got the glamorous names, but all of us are lacking a progressive number 8. Them man got Scott McTominay and Fred. You know, look at the midfield fuckery that Arsenal is doing. Look at what you lot are doing. Again, this is probably why it's looking meaty from everybody. I know he's the main talking point, but what's your thoughts on Lukaku's performance today? Yesterday, assuming that's Lukaku, same old, hitting tired step overs, could have hit a barn door, shout out Ziyech for the finish and whatnot. But yeah, man, it was rubbed really. Seeing as how we have an 18-day gap from when we play Wolves, you just know when we will not sign a midfielder because we have everyone available, probably. And I know we're going off to Dubai. Apparently, Wilshere's going, although he's not signed. What's the point? Maybe it's, I don't know. Aubameyang, we don't know if he's going. And if he doesn't go, boy, then that tells you everything about his Arsenal career. There's actually rumblings come out about Aubameyang. We'll focus about it at 11:30, but how, we never really know the fallout between him and why he's left Gabon before they've left the AFCON. We hear his heart issues and stuff, but if you read between the lines, Arteta said that hasn't been communicated from the Gabon national team. Maybe that's incompetence on their part. Maybe it's because there's something more to the story, really. I don't know. It is what it is, really and truly. And you'd imagine, well, I would let him go to Dubai, but I could see why he'd be frozen out. And boy, I think as I said yesterday, showed why we need a striker in it, and as well as a midfielder. I'd rather a midfielder. Call me pessimistic, but I see no chance of us getting top 4 now. We're just not good enough. I can't blame. Can't say anything else. Morning, DG and the nation. Hope you're good. Top 4 dreams are on the floor after yesterday's Dosh performance. DG, what's your thoughts on Isaac? I followed him since his debut for AEK. He's a good talent, but never been a prolific goal scorer. Is that something he can improve on, as he's always goes on dry spells? Of course, as a young man, you got to be able to score goals. And as much as I want Isaac and would like Isaac, I think he'd struggle in the first 6 months in the Premier League. He's still learning, he's still adapting. Every striker that Arsenal's going to go for is going to carry a risk because we can't get them. And he's got the general play and stuff, but he is very raw, and I do think he'd score goals, but I don't have real confidence that he's gonna leave from January if it did happen and do the business as much as I like him. As a United fan, Isaac is not the standard for Arsenal. Come on, you guys need better than him, boy. But Vlahovic don't want to sign for this thing, get it? He don't want to sign for this thing. DG, will you admit Pope is England's number 1? Fuck you talking about? No, he's not. Right? Ramsdale better than him. Pickford did all right. Pickford did all right the other day, as much as I don't rate him. What else have we got here? You can't even see my face. It's a serious paragraph, but feel no sort of way, man. Long paragraphs, short paragraphs, you get through it all. Big up yourself, looks. I'm conflicted, bro. On one hand, I'm disappointed that we didn't capitalize on other teams dropping points, true, and that as an Arsenal supporter, Arsenal should be challenging for trophies. On the other hand, Arsenal told us fans they had no expectations for this season. They gave us no targets. And I think that Arteta and Arsenal found themselves in a predicament because they didn't know we'd be in this position. We are in to take on 4th. You're right. But at the same time, if I'm devil's advocate, again, if we take that at face value and there genuinely is no targets, then I'm sorry, but everybody needs to come out the football club. It doesn't matter if you're Manchester City or Norwich, you have come out the relegation, or Burnley. Everyone needs a target. If you don't have goals in life, if you don't have weekly, daily, monthly, yearly targets, you're not going to get anywhere. What are we aspiring to then? Is everybody just employed, from footballers to dinner ladies to the manager, for no reason then? Internally, there has to be plans. Clearly, the longer, whether these men care about it or not, the longer Arsenal not in Europe is going to affect you. Our direct failings on the field have consequences off it. Our failing off it with planning, bringing in midfielders, are correlating to our problems on the field. Do I have great sympathy for a lot of what Mikel Arteta has gone through since he's taken this job? Yes, he's had to deal with wage cuts, mercenary players, COVID, a lot for a novice manager. But at the same time, every problem we find ourselves in central midfield specifically and up front is because of us. Respectfully, Eddie didn't leave, fair enough, personal terms in the summer, but come on now. Arteta said, Aubameyang, Lacazette and Ketia is my guys. You have to judge a squad not when everyone's fit, but when people are injured. And what I'm seeing is he's told me at its weakest, Lokonga and these guys can whatever. Obviously we've been dealt a short hand with injuries, but your squad's only as strong as you can only see true strength of a squad when you're down to your bare bones. We chose not to directly improve midfield. Again, like I said, in the summer, there was big, every signing looks like they're doing their job, but we only look like we wanted a midfielder when it looked like Xhaka's busting out. We only look like we want a midfielder, in my opinion, because we're down to our bare bones, really, you know. And these are the problems we find ourselves in. Arteta has had a full season. He knows that injuries, and definitely where Arsenal's concerned, whether it's COVID, whether it's the November period, we don't we can't afford to be positive. We have to be positively pessimistic and assume we're going to have hella injuries like we have now. Partey will be back for the next game. Xhaka will be back for the next game. Maybe El Nene, this landscape will change. But again, all the problems we're facing in the middle of the park, it's on the gaffer. The players messed up against Burnley and things like that. But the direct consequence of the playing squad we put out there, which was good enough to win, is because we haven't done the business in August. We haven't, The strikers, if you're going to rub out Aubameyang, I'm sorry, Lacazette and Nketiah, it's not good enough to the end of the season. How many goals in the Prem do they have between them? As much as I like Lacazette's general play, all of that stuff, sometimes you just need your striker to bag, and Laka has shown he's not prolific for that. Eddie Nketiah, when it's serious teams and serious business, again, it's dead, in it. You know the thing. Two guys that are out of contract. This is very incompetent that two strikers are leading the line and their contracts are up. We're not bringing in a striker in January. We didn't do it in the summer, whether we wanted Tammy or not. And the midfield, they keep saying Lokonga's back up. Lokonga's had to play more than he's needed to. And that's good for him. He's going to get experience. But then you're throwing him to the wind. You have to cap it with experience. We'd rather be over-prepared. And again, to be fair, it looks like incompetence. I said this January period is where we're going to look back and say we either kicked on or didn't. Now, make that your own mind. Hopefully, February's kinder to Arsenal, but to the point where we're looking at and we're thinking, surely, there's got to be someone arriving to this club. I didn't care that Ainsley was going because he's a bit of a sideman like that. Ainsley and whoever is going, but it made you think, what's going on there? And again, even if you don't care about these players, you need to play the game. Again, these guys needed to go. My problem is not bringing in a midfielder. You let Guendouzi go on loan, whether I think he's got ability or not. Torreira was, didn't want to be here. Fair enough, he's gone. You let you've let Maitland-Niles depart. Man, them are going off to AFCON. Xhaka and Partey, they're capable of bozo moments. What we doing in the middle of the park? You're bringing in a young Lokonga, who I think played a tiny bit better yesterday, but he's left to his own devices. There's no one to hold his hand. So what are we doing? And then when I hear at face value, when I hear comments like there's no targets, this tells me everyone can freestyle and do what they're doing. This is why I have a hard problem. I'm not against Arteta signing a new deal, but what has anybody achieved? Saka's getting a new deal because I know he's lost his form for a bit, but because he's doing the bits. Martinelli, new deal because he's doing the bits. I do think Mikel Arteta has installed some good things, but I just think at Arsenal we're too quick to proclaim a man a failure or a positive. Like, what are we trying to do? Again, Arteta's he's had to deal with a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm loyal to my football club. Them things there, we need to look at, is this going to make Arteta a better manager for Arsenal Football Club, or is he going to learn these skills and say, you know what, thank you for the experience, Arsenal. My mistakes have been learned. I'm gone elsewhere. We're self-inflicting, and to be fair with you, I still think that team Arsenal had out yesterday was good enough to get a job done against Burnley, regardless of the context. But then we sealed our fate for games like that in August because we didn't prepare. We didn't bring in adequate numbers, and as we know, you set up half decent defensively. We can't break you down. There's periods we might huff and puff. Smith Rowe was a man inspired at periods in the second half. Odegaard was here and there. Saka was anonymous in the second half and his standards dropped. But in the first half, he was doing bits. Martinelli was trying the thing. We huffed and puffed, but no goals. They kept a clean sheet. And that's a good point for Burnley, really, because they've got hella games. They're fighting relegation and all of these things. And then when Arteta's coming out and saying the transfer window is complicated, of course it is. It's January. No one wants to sell people. Everybody knows Arsenal are in a position of weakness. And any striker and midfielder that you lot were looking for now is going to get thrown in. Get a couple more zeros are getting thrown on that. And I'm not being funny. I'm pretty sure I'm getting deja vu, because if Google allows you, if I was to go back to last January with Arteta's comments, are they going to be too dissimilar? Now, again, he's still a young manager, but you've managed one season now. You should have known this. You should have been, you know, injuries are part and parcel of the problem. You know, you need depth. You'd rather be over-prepared. Look at Chelsea, you forget Barkley and these sort of guys are there. Probably guys can be moved on, but they're overstocked. You look at United, Van der Beek can't, unless something happens, Van der Beek's not busting out because they need depth. What are we doing? We're playing a very naive game. We was very naive and smug with what we was doing with our options. We was betting on a lot, and it's stupidity. And I go back to the midfield, even if Partey and Xhaka are fit, is that 30? Any Arsenal fan who says, if we sit here in August and say, I believe in Xhaka to start week in, week out, and we can get top four, and that can be used as a building block, you're lying. You don't rate it. You're lying to yourself. You're lying. Whether you think we should find a partner for Partey, upgrade on both of them, get rid of you're lying. I like, the defense is going to make some mistakes, but you can see light at the end of the tunnel with Gabriel, Ben White, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Ramsdale, Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard. These guys are finding their feet. Lokonga's having a tough time, but I think he'll find his feet to some degree. The spine of the team, you've got no number 8, so you can't create and allow your players to stay further forward. You've got no real depth. The strikers, whatever way you say it, bro, it's dead. We are not Liverpool where we've got a Mo Salah and things, and we can get away with Lacazette. You lot fans overcompensate. I love Lacazette, but when it's crunch time, this is meaty. And I think this is getting run like amateurs. You've got 2-man run deals running down with mediocre goal return between them. We need a midfield. As much as I feel the players messed up against Burnley, this period is on the gaffer as well. Have we been dealt a shorthand? Do I have nothing but any admiration for players that have put their bodies on the line with injuries and things? Of course, but I have no sympathy because we knew this was happening. And again, Edu and Arteta, as novice as they may be, they were both midfielders. They both played the game. They both played a full season in the Prem. They both were midfielders. They both were Arsenal midfielders. So somebody's smoking something special if they're looking at all these midfield options. And again, for me, the wickedest thing is Lokonga might be in bad form. Saka and Martinelli and Smith Rowe didn't do the business. But our form, young players are not, look at the Liverpool game. When it was going shaky for Liverpool, Curtis Jones could look at Fabinho, Van Dijk, Robertson, even a young but more senior to him, Trent Alexander-Arnold. With us, everybody's just freestyling. Our results are hinging on Smith Rowe, Saka, and these guys, and they're still developing. Smith Rowe and Saka went through purple patches. We don't know if they're goal scoring tens or wingers yet. They're still trying to bring that into their game. Lo and behold, there's going to be periods where they score, periods where they haven't. If they're not doing it, then we're not scoring. What's going on? And the thing is with Arteta, when I see things like Laka right now in the starting lineup, or at a time where we had Aubameyang and Lacazette, I don't know if we're trying to do these things or if that's just something we've stumbled across and we're just going to run that one day right now. I don't know. And it's frustrating because you could see the same thing. It's one where you saw this happening. Mathematically, you're still in with a shout and all of this stuff, but it's self-inflicted nonsense. And you can't convincingly say that this won't happen again, really, really, really and truly. Again, I was gonna do this early on the 11:30 stream, but then again, this is it again, not to scale, but you look at our build-up play, it's meaty. Now, I think Lokonga's still a bit shaky, finding his feet, bit lacking in confidence, but he was playing a slightly different role. He's standing in between their strikers. When he's getting the ball, he's having to go backwards. And to be fair, I think you're not the guy in it. Your form's on the floor. Stop building out from the back. Let him do his thing. But then again, when you've got no midfield, we're going long. Sometimes it's popping off to Martinelli and Saka, but 9 times out of 10, Burnley will deal with that. Come on, we're going for long balls with Burnley. They come out the Championship and all of these things. They deal with that. 2 banks of 4, winning your first and seconds. We're playing into their hands, really and truly. We're playing into their hands. Smith Rowe, and obviously the second half he's driving forward. Odegaard the same, but there was times one didn't know whether to drop, and both are dropping. Both are staying up there. One's too deep and one's too far. There's gaps, and they're still learning. They're still learning their own roles, let alone that. So I think we had problems in that regard. Ben White, again, maybe because of injuries, and we didn't have that handbrake that Xhaka comes with, where he pulls over to the left back row and allows Tierney to go forward. But we're not supporting the man them. Martinelli's on his J's. They'll deal with that. Yeah, he's lit. He does the drop in the shoulders and that. But it starts getting predictable, really. And Tierney's end product weren't good enough. But how many times did you see them supporting each other? Second half, you saw a bit more from Ben White going forward. Ben White and Saka. Saka's receiving it on the halfway line more time. But you saw it. You saw it from Bukayo Saka in that. Ben White's getting closer. Now, a byproduct is because our midfield is collapsed. Holding as well, but Holding ain't got the pass in him. He's playing 5-yard passes. That's killing us. I think we miss Ben White centrally. Gabriel's trying the thing, but we're tactically playing ourselves out of the game. Lacazette's dropping deep, and he ain't got the pace or the legs to get in the box. How many balls are whistled across? The one that's whistled across, he doesn't bag. We're marking up, we're getting ourselves out of games. We can't break down low units, and if we exaggerate it a bit, we struggle to break down low blocks. Anyone that has a decent defensive structure, a deep block, a low block, we try pass through you or huff and puff. Maybe there's an individual bits of brilliance, but you weather the storm. You know what you was going to get with Burnley. They weren't coming to play tiki-taka. And I know Klopp, Pep, Wenger used to do it. They'll criticize teams like this for doing that. But what can you tell them? Their thing is going to work, you know, to a slight degree, bring back the strikers. We can't break that down. You know, we couldn't break that down. We could not break that down. There would be a cute little passes. You know, I'm not going to do it to scale, but cute little 5-yard passes. Everybody wants it and it's going backwards and then forwards, but we can't break it down fundamentally. You know, Lokonga can't build, you know, so it's not a skill set of his. So again, you're losing a lot there. We played into their hands and we lost this game for ourselves as well. As frustrating as it is, it's quite frustrating. And then when I go over and I look at some of the comments, this is where the frustration comes from, really. You know, new signings must take us to the next level. Brother, we finished 8th, you know. Let's look at what my gaffer has said, man. I love you, Mikel Arteta. I like what you're bringing to the club, but I've got no allegiances to you, Edu, or the players. I love my football club, and you lot are frustrating me. Again, I've got sympathy for Tomiyasu, but you know, there's injuries. Injuries are part and parcel. We know when you haven't got quality, you're having to overpay players where fixture fatigue is building up. You're having to rush players back through injury where we're losing the battle, which was the battle against Liverpool, and lost the war. Because when is Tomiyasu back? He's turned down a call up to Japan. So when is he back? His peak. Well, Tomiyasu had an injury and we didn't have anybody in that position against Liverpool. He really wanted to push. He tried and he played 90 minutes and he felt again. So he'll be out for a couple of weeks. So, boy, we're hoping this Dubai period can help us. On whether it's crucial that he stays in England during his injury. Right now, he needs to recover. His only focus has to be to have the best possible treatment, to look after himself and try to be back available for us as quickly as he can. He'll be out for a few weeks. On why we struggle to break down Burnley, because a part of its personnel, part of its tactics, and a part of it we didn't have the quality. You know, on the pitch the names were there, but in terms of tacticalities, it's predictable, really. Like, we're playing long balls. And again, we didn't even start the game well. You know, it's the mindset. You started the game well against Liverpool for 20 minutes, and then the 22nd you conceded. Burnley, Ramsdale made a big save, but he's moving Buki. Lokonga's giving away Buki corners. We're all, and I'm not trying to scapegoat. We're all moving Buki. What's going on? Well, the way we started the game, it was slow. And see, I didn't even see that. And there you have it. It was slow and we didn't play forward enough and didn't have enough urgency. Boy, if you against Burnley at home in a must-win where it's a crucial week where you've seen the other results in the top forward, Spurs losing, United, and then obviously beating Leicester, United doing the business 2 games in a row now, West Ham dropping points, boy, is what it is. And didn't have enough urgency, probably because of Thursday. It could be one of the reasons. This is why you need depth. Afterwards, we picked up the game and started to get better. There were periods where we were on it, and certainly the second half was completely different. Smith Rowe was a man inspired at times. We were much more dynamic. We had much more penetration. We played forward, and we had better positions to threaten them in, behind, and width in many situations. We created a number of situations, shots, crosses. Yeah, we did, but we still ain't scored. We didn't score. We still ain't won. So this don't mean anything. You don't get points for playing well. You don't get points for having opportunities. You get points for winning. You know, and this is where I feel Arsenal as a football club, with all of us, there's no balance. We either focus on the gloom or the positives, to the point where we lost. There's no balance. You would think we beat City. There was a lot of positives, but we lost. You know, Southampton got something off them. So what does that say? Really, as much as Pep waffles and says, "Oh, Arsenal was the hardest game," and all of this crap to help his brethren, I don't know. We created a number of situations, shots, crosses, but to win this match, you need to have a different level of quality, and we lack that today. With the amount of situations we generated, you need a spark, and someone has to win you the game if you want to be on top. And Arteta, again, not that I want to sing Aubameyang's praises, but we're struggling to bring a striker into me as a fan. Them, not that Aubameyang's not on the joke thing this season, but them man, they're playing on the joke thing. Maybe you've cut off your nose to spite your face. As I said, it's a squad game. Be wary of drawing conclusions. You might have to integrate something back into the side and try something else. Really, you might have to be humble with Pepe when he returns. On whether our attacking position at the end left us exposed on the counter, yes, it was. Ramsdale saved us. It's one of the risks that you have, because the game becomes much more unpredictable the moment you start to throw boys up there. And with the way Burnley play with all their second balls, yes, we had to maintain our discipline, but at the same time, we had to take risks because we wanted to win the game. I mean, how Westwood didn't get sent off, I don't know. Peters and Pope should have been booked. I think it's been couple of years since Burnley have had a man sent off. So on one hand, it's dark hearts. On the other hand, boy, it doesn't matter if it's MacArthur against Crystal Palace, Trent against Saka a few years ago, Ben Godfrey stepping on the face of Tomiyasu, MacArthur against Saka. Again, I know Arsenal fans whine about a lot, but I mean, come on, there clearly is one rule for one and the next rule for others, people, really and truly. On if we need signings to challenge for the top 4, It's what we planned, but the market is difficult. It's complicated. We knew that. Well, there you have the answer. I don't care then. The market is difficult. It's complicated. You said that last year. We knew that. So if you knew that, why don't you do the business in August? But it's a lot to manage, and we have to make the right decisions with players we believe are going to help us and try to bring in ones that can take us to the next level. On if he expects incomings before the deadline, well, we are certainly trying, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. Let's see. It's not only our intention, but a lot of facts that are needed to happen. Arteta, less waffle, bring in the man. And this is why there should not be talks of new deals yet. What has been achieved? On if our goal drought affects Aubameyang's future. We have scored a lot of goals recently, but it's true in the last 4 games we haven't done it. Today, again, it's not about the situation you're able to create, but the quality of the execution and the number of shots that you need to put on target to beat teams like Burnley. You didn't put them under real sustained pressure consistently. On if it was a missed opportunity to get top 4, undoubtedly. It was a great chance, and we wanted to take that opportunity after missing to get into that final, which was a disappointment because we really wanted to play there, and today we had the opportunity to do it. I didn't see that desire right from the beginning, but I certainly saw it in the second half, reactionary. But we lack that quality that you need to put the games to bed and to have that knife when you are there to do it, like we missed against Liverpool as well when we had them. Boy, on if players should have been signed sooner in the window, I think that's the dream of every manager, or some managers able to do it, to have them in the team on the first day, but it isn't realistic. And in this window as well, the history of this window, a lot of them happened right at the end. So let's see. I'll shut my mouth to the end of the window, but boy, on our plans mid-season break, we're going away. We're going to have a training camp all together in a different environment, reunite, refocus. Let's have a good goal because there's still a lot to play for. We're going to Dubai if you don't know already. On if players look tired at the end of the game, I don't know. I saw them try right into the last minute. They really tried. We know in the last 4 weeks, that we had a really demanding and challenging situation because we didn't have enough players. Some players have been sick, injured. These are things that happen in the season. Okay. Trying to bring them back, trying to expose them onto pitches when they're not ready. Again, you knew this. We've been here with Xhaka last season, David Luiz, Partey's fitness. We know this. Equip the squad. But I cannot fault how they tried. You don't get points for trying. They certainly need some days off. But then we need to get back again and bring players back and start to work and start to win matches. On if Aubameyang will go to Dubai, we'll see what the situation is, on how important it is to get the right people in the door. Players that come here have to be able to take us to the next level. We already have a level 8th, and we want to see much better standards than we already have, and that is how we're going to recruit. On Lokonga, who we're hanging him out to dry, let's be real. I think he's growing. He's playing better and better. I think he had a really good game the other day against Liverpool. His understanding of the game, he is managing the physicality much better. He is maturing. It's a lot to ask when we signed him. The expectation that we've had for him in the first year was to start adapting, but he has to play many more minutes than we expected. And the kid is trying his best, and I think he's doing pretty well. So again, considering you've gone through one season, you never thought that injuries, Partey, Xhaka, suspensions, you might have to over-rely on Lokonga. So bringing the next midfielder to either play with him and hold his hands or to take him out the firing line. Well, you're exposing your own players. I don't really care why Arteta was animated with the 4th official, because you don't get brownie points for marching up and down the pitch. You get brownie points for winning games of football, really. I want to hear what Ramsdale's had to say. He said, we didn't really take the game to them. I'll give credit to Burnley. They defended well. We put balls into the box, and that's meat and drink to Burnley again. Exactly. And when I'm seeing you do long balls forward, I have to give you sympathy because nobody's showing for it short, and the gaffer's telling you to do it. Why are we doing that? It's like playing a prime Barcelona side and trying to beat them off the back of the park playing tiki-taka. You're doing suicidal stuff. It's not making sense. We're trying to get into a gunfight with John Wick. You're going to die. It doesn't make sense. We put balls into the box, and that's meat and drink to Burnley. So is there a lack of player IQ? Is it naivety from the players and the manager? It's definitely a missed opportunity for 3 points. Sorry for hitting the screen, the camera, the what do you call this again? The mic people. And to gain places back in the league, but I'll take the positive of a clean sheet with the defending of the whole team, but definitely a frustrating day. It's down to fatigue. It's a difficult one to say because I'm not the one running about every 3-4 days like those lads have been doing. But with the quality we had on the pitch, we could have got more. We should have not fatigue, injuries. There's enough to beat Burnley, the bottom of the fucking league. Pardon my French. Credit to them, but come on now. We had most of the ball and we could have had more chances, but I can't fault any of the lads' efforts they've put in, defending or attacking wise. Yes, we can. Defending, we kept the clean sheet. Attacking, we never scored. It was just a bit if quality we missed. I think that means off, not if. We missed, and also a few good saves from Popey as well. Shout out Nick Pope, but come on now. Dead. You didn't put Nick Pope, we never put Nick Pope under sustained pressure. Wait. I don't want to hear it. Like, it's too frustrating. Points dropped. Frustrating, man. I honestly, I don't want to hear it. Honestly, sorry, but I just don't want to hear it. It's not that you're wrong. It's just it don't mean much. It really don't. It don't mean much. It don't help. It don't help us. Anyways, man. Why is Sambi the lone deep midfielder when Partey couldn't hack it in the Europa semi-final? But you have to ask Arteta. When you find out, let me know, Josh, because it's crazy. DG, you think Arsenal should try get a midfielder on the bench like Camavinga? He ain't coming, man. And plus, he's a young midfielder as well, for as great as he is. Him and Lukonga are going to get savage together in midfield for Arsenal. We just wing it under Mikteta. Edu is a fraud and needs the boot too harsh. But it is what it is. I feel like it's not progression. It's just a cycle. I'm tired of not knowing what we'll get week in, week out with this team. Sorry. We got to play to a standard. We don't have none. That's why, we're surprised by bullshit. 3 goals in the Premier League for Laka and Eddie, still less than but exactly, cutting your nose off to spite your face. When we're winning and scoring goals, by all means, but you need to be humble, and that's where you need to show your experience of not quite to freeze people out all the way. Even when Alexis Sanchez was acting up in a certain way, Wenger handled him a certain sort of way. He dropped him for the Liverpool away game, and he went back in. You ain't got the squad, and there's always got to be a plan. If we're scoring goals like we was, nobody cares about Aubameyang, but you're not now, are you? If we're winning games and midfield's doing all right, no one cares about nothing. Suddenly, it's looking shaky. It's just very self-inflicted. Trust. I can't lie, man. Tanganga was giving Hudson-Odoi some free clout. DG, do you know of any Xhaka replacements in the market right now? I wouldn't say Xhaka replacements, but half the names we're linked with need to go and grab them, really. DG, hear me out, but Arteta's biggest flaw is man management, not tactics. I mean, you could say that, but then there's, and I hear you, and it's not that I don't disagree, not that I don't agree, but then there's moments of good man management, like how he was behaving with Aubameyang prior, like how he's managing certain others, and with the tactics, there's plenty of times with good tactics, but at the same time, there's times where he gets tactically out. It seems like for me with Arsenal, too many variables need to go right for us to get a result, and as you know, in football, it's rarely going to be the perfect game. Regardless of what fans base we support or whatever, we all know managers can plan from Monday all the way to Friday. I want to do this, I want to do that. First 5 minutes, it didn't happen on Saturday or Sunday, whenever you lot's teams played, but you can rock up on the weekend. First 30 seconds, everything you thought is out the window. It's like a boxing match. You can plan for how this guy does this and that. The minute he gives you a different sort of punch, it's there. And I don't think we can react, really. I think our play is too predictable. We've been getting results, so it's fine. But I see the same things all the time. Defenders having to force passes because we've got no midfield. And again, I've got no sympathy for Mikel Arteta with what's going on specifically in midfield, bro. Because we knew this was going to be a thing. Fix the roof when the sun is shining. We didn't. Wait until it's raining to think, oh shit, let's get a roof for here. And that's my thing. Are we really trying to pattern midfield, or are we looking for a squad, Donny? Because it only seems like we're trying to get a midfielder when Xhaka's linked with a move away. It only felt that fans knew we needed a midfielder, but I only felt that we're moving for a midfielder now that there's a crisis, quote unquote. So I don't know in our hearts if we really want a midfielder. And that's what jars me. Big time. Wait, DG, do you buy it? Arsenal re-signed Mikel to Ward of City? Probably, but again, he hasn't signed that new deal. And again, why is he getting a new deal without doing anything, really? There's a lot of good building blocks, but we've not achieved anything. Like, the standards are on the floor. Like, we play well for a couple of weeks and months, and then people start behaving like it's Johnny Big Balls again. Like, certain men have done it for years or a year or years or whatever. Like, we haven't done nothing. As much as we might see better fight in big games in the FA Cup, we still ain't bullied no one in the Premier in a big game. You get no brownie points for beating Spurs. Shout out that, but you played well against City. There's no one's gonna remember in May when you look at all the L's we've taken against City. Oh no, but that loss was better though. I know, but that loss against Liverpool was better though. It was only 2-0. Really, 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 really. Anyways. Less about Arsenal, man. That's my little therapy. Big up you lot for tuning in, man, because you lot helped me with that, man. I feel a lot better now that I got that off my chest, though. I'm no cat people. I'm not even gonna cat, man. Feel a lot better. But yeah, man, let's crack on with other football, man. You know me, I like other football. Now, obviously, to soften the blow, Spurs lost. Chelsea won, United won. Who else? Liverpool, Buki penalties. Crystal Palace got done dirty, but at the same time, what a player Robertson is. He got 2 assists. Fabinho doing the business. Oxlade-Chamberlain handling what he needed. I see Ivan Toney score one greasy finish as well. I think Spurs whisper it, but I think they got shagged. Bro, Tammy Abraham's doing his thing for Roma, but EK, what am I supposed to say about Tammy? That he's doing his thing. There's nothing else to say, really. We tried to grab him in the summer, allegedly Arsenal. Might try it for him again. I don't know, though. But apart from that, I don't know what else I can say about Tammy Abraham, my dude. But yeah, if you look at the results, people, again on Sunday, Chelsea defeated Tottenham Hotspur 2-0. A peach of a goal from Hakim Ziyech. Lukaku still stinking up the joint. Tanganga struggled, in my opinion. Chelsea dominated. Hudson-Odoi, I hate to say it, but had a good game. He had a very good game. Chelsea get back to winning ways. 2-0 clean sheet. Bish, bash, bosh, really. And that's a big 3 points for them, especially because there's not much in it between them and Liverpool. I know City dropped points in the leagues. Their lead at the top is cut a bit, but it is what it is, man. I did think Harry Kane was done dirty, but a big reason as I think Spurs stood no chance is because they ain't got the personnel really and truly. Doherty was meaty, Sessegnon meaty, Sanchez didn't look like he knew what's going on. Dyer trying but meaty. Ben Davis looked scared. Tanganga out of his depth. Felt sorry for the strikers. It's a brazy one. Leicester and Brighton drew 1-1. Patson Daka made the lead for Leicester before a certain Danny Welbeck grabbed the point for Brighton. Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Alisson was in top form with his saves. Don't understand how that penalty was given for Liverpool. I'm sure even Liverpool fans would agree. Palace did have chances. It was a close game, but that's why Liverpool are a good team. They grinded it out. Robertson did his thing with 2 assists. Of all people, Fabinho taking penalties, goal scorer, number 6 could do it all, innit? Van Dijk, thunderous header, 3-1 Liverpool, really. Job done, really. And Crystal Palace is a dodgy place for Liverpool, us as well, but for Liverpool to go. So that's Sunday. Arsenal drew 0-0. We already spoke about Arsenal at length. I'm sure you all saw the Aston Villa game. Buendia's won 2 vital headers, the shortest man on the pitch, really. Gerrard looked like he loved it against the Everton fans. It's looking peak for Everton. Luka Dean, who, what was the point selling him if he was going to, in hindsight, if Rafa Benitez was going to keep it moving, gets one over. Buendia grabs the 3 points for Villa. Can't lie, I think Pickford had a good game out of anyone for Everton, if I'm honest with you. Wolves, courtesy of Moutinho, snatched it from Brentford, sorry. Portuguese revolution, really. Ruben Neves and Moutinho. Ivan Toney scored a decent little half volley as well. And then Man United snatched it at the end. That was a stinky game, really. They snatched it at the end. Credit to them, courtesy of Marcus Rashford. For Man United, again, the results are not correlating to the performance because they're playing poor, but it's about grinding them out. Brentford were half in it. United did what they needed to do. West Ham had opportunities. Bowen had opportunities. They had opportunities to rob something from the game. Didn't do that, and they paid the price. Southampton, shout out to Kyle Walker-Peters. Apparently Jack Grealish was waiting in the tunnel for Romeo after the game, people. Apart from the second half where City really cranked up the pressure, I think Southampton were decent. I think they matched them. I thought they fought. Yeah, man. And I told you, Southampton might take an early lead, and you saw the thing. Again, I've said if Norwich don't get relegated, I'll issue an apology, courtesy of probably